We everywhere. We live right now, people. We live. You can see everything in my place. Everything. My empty space. Anyway, welcome everyone. I am your girl Zoe Sunshine. Thank you so much for joining the live. So I posted I guess you could call it an ad. I posted an ad earlier today. You're gonna hear some chickens regularly. Just want to let you guys know that. No, you're gonna hear some chickens. Anyway, I posted an ad earlier today talking about this new series that I'm starting called "Don't Forget Your Crown." Basically, it is just to remind us that we're all kings and queens. There are things that we are all battling with in this life. I'm gonna be looking left to right, but there are things that we're all battling with in this life, and sometimes it's good to share our perspectives, our experiences with each other. And that's what I'm hoping this series brings, some sort of peace, some sort of clarity to each individual who watches it. So I thank you guys so much for joining. Each episode is going to be half an hour, and it's going to be an open dialogue episode. So if anybody has any questions, or if anybody wants to come into the live on mainly the Instagram, if anybody wants to come into the live, they can feel free to do so. Hey, but yes, I am hoping that this enriches people's lives. It allows people to gain perspective, especially from those of us who have been through our own experiences when dealing with mental health. Today, we are dealing with burnout, whether it is occupational burnout or romantic burnout or friendship burnout. We all go through that type of burnout in our life, and it is how to deal with it. So I'm just going to reiterate that my name is Zoe Sunshine. This is an open dialogue live. So feel free to share any opinions if you're interested in come chiming in or jumping into the live. Feel free to let me know. So I have some notes here with me. I'm going to put them on this side because I'm looking at the live on YouTube and on Instagram. So hi again. Burnout. Burnout is a state of physical and emotional exhaustion. It can occur when you experience long term stress in your job, in your relationships, in your home life, or when you have worked in physically and emotionally draining role for a long time. Common signs of burnout would be feeling tired and drained most of the time. Now, some people might recognize burnout and some may consider it to be laziness. Your health is important, your mental health is important, and it should never be considered laziness when you feel overstressed and exhausted. Um, Taking the time to look into this has been very important to me because I've been feeling burnt out, and I did not want to take the necessary rest that I needed because I felt like I would be missing out on work. I felt like people might say, "Oh, she how well, you don't need to really tell anybody your business." To be honest, if it is that you're exhausted, you go to your doctor and you say, "Hey, I'm exhausted," and hopefully they'll give you some time off. I believe that they will. If I am talking too fast, please let me know because I feel like sometimes I do that. Yeah. um but if you have to go to the doctor and get your information and tell them exactly how you are feeling, do that. Before I continue any further, I am encouraging people, hey, welcome, welcome. I am encouraging people to grab some tea, some water, some wine, whatever floats your boat, because it's going to be a nice little chat for about 21 minutes now. So, right. Um, so, what are the signs of burnout? Sense of failure and self doubt, feeling helpless and trapped and defeated. You will hear the chickens occasionally. They're just confirming that everything that I say is correct. Detachment, feeling alone in the world, loss of motivation, increasingly cynical, and negative outlooks, decreased satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. And I know that sometimes when you feel this way, especially about your job or your relationships, you might feel like the best thing for you to do is to move on from said job or relationship, but that might not be it. You may need to just take a break from it and focus on yourself, fill your cup, and have a different perspective on what you're facing or what you're dealing with. Um, so, I mean, obviously, if there red flags, which we'll get to in another topic, if there are red flags in your situations, then you should look for a way to get out of it and get something better for you. But if it's the case where you feel overly exhausted and you feel frustrated even with the slightest things, for example, somebody comes to work and they say one thing and it just rubs you the wrong way. You don't mean for it to rub you the wrong way, but because you're so sick and 13 and over, by the way, because you're so sick of that shit, you are you're like, I can't deal. I don't want to deal with this today. I'm over it. Why does it have to be like this? I just can't type of vibe, right? And that person obviously did not intend to trigger you. Some people might, but in this case, that person did not intend to trigger you. But you were triggered because you are exhausted. Hi, my mom's in the chat. What's up, mommy? So yeah, and she's studying psychology. So if you have anything to add, mom, it will be very much appreciated. We are talking about burnout and if it's real or a myth. And I believe that the facts that we have given have shown that it is real. We're going to talk about the 5 stages of burnout. No, we have the honeymoon phase. The first stage is referred to as the honeymoon phase of burnout. Yeah, shocking. But it's where you're like, okay, you're in it and you're ignoring the signs. Ah, my mother has sent a request. Hey, come on into the chat, mama. Come on in. Come on into the chat. Let us talk about it now. Oh gosh, I already gone to African. My mother is coming in. And I am sorry that you guys on YouTube can't see this right now. I don't know if that was intentional. But mom, whenever you're ready, you can join into the chat. I've given you permission. Let me also send this live to a few other people really quickly. Um, yeah. Mama,
Yeah.
hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Yes, you're in the chat. I-
I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
That's okay. You live and you learn. It's your first experience. Hey, Paul. Welcome, welcome. So you are here with Don't Forget Your Crown. This is just a reminder to you and everybody that you guys are kings and queens and that we all go through different experiences and we're all here to learn from each other in order to grow and become the best that we can possibly be. I'm here with my mom on a live who's figuring it out, but she's here. And we're talking about burnout and if it's real or myth. Mama, I hand the mic to you.
Of course, it is real. I'm living proof that it's real.
I, I agree with that. I agree with that, definitely. Yes, please. Tell us more. Oh gosh, it's hot.
Well, obviously, we each have to know our limitations: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. We have to know those limitations. And we have to be proactive in recognizing when we reach those limitations so that it doesn't result in burnout.
Yes, I agree completely. But sometimes people have a hard time recognizing those limitations because they feel like they might be giving up. So how do we differentiate between that, between knowing what it is and you not like quitting halfway, if that makes sense?
Well, I would like to suggest that, of course, we have goals, and we should have steps to reaching those goals. And, the steps should be attainable, realistic, achievable. And the problem comes when we try to do too much in, a less amount of time. And that's where burnout can come. Burnout, the easiest way for us to get burnout is when we don't know how to say no.
Yes. I agree 100%. That is very true. Yeah. People pleasing. Yes, definitely.
Of course, and it comes from external and internal pressure. So those are the things we have to watch when we're goal setting and goal attaining, that we set realistic steps to achieving those goals.
I agree 100%. That we do need to set attainable goals, realistic goals in place, and it might be difficult because you may have a positive outlook on life where you are hopeful. There's nothing wrong with being hopeful, but I was recently told about toxic positivity, and it kind of took me by surprise because I was just trying to look at the bright side of things instead of letting whatever experience I was going through get the best of me. What do you think about that? Like toxic positivity when it comes to dealing with burnout?
You mean like constantly seeing things with rose-colored glasses and telling yourself, "Oh, it's okay.
Yes.
It's gonna be all right."
Yes.
Yeah. Error. Of course, that's a big error. And of course, in trying to be a person who is positive, that can happen. So you have to be careful. And that is where then your support system can come in. If you have a good support system, or at least one person who is honest with you, that can say to you, no, you really need to take another look at this, or you really need to see this other side, or you really need to recognize that this is more than you.
Yeah.
And this is really what it is. It's not really going to be okay. It's not okay. Self-reflection also helps with that a lot.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that having, like, people getting into the habit of journaling, whether you have a diary or you record yourself, people getting into that habit is a great thing, because then you get to see what's in your mind on paper, and you're able to analyze it, or you're able to like really think about it and break it down so that you can understand what you're feeling and why, and your goals especially. It's good to do that too.
But even with that, you have to be careful, because sometimes even writing down things, it's scary. And when you see something on paper that you've written about yourself, it may cast doubts on you, so that the next thing you write, you try to write positively and not realistically. So in our thoughts and in our actions and in our journaling, we have to try as much as we can to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. I agree. I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Yes, definitely. It can sometimes be a hard pill to swallow when you recognize these things that you're dealing with and the changes that you need to make in order for your life to improve. But we do have to be honest with ourselves, especially when it comes to burnout. When you feel like you can't say no and you're pushing yourself to that limit where you're fried or you just can't anymore.
And telling yourself, "Oh, I'm going to stop when I get to the next. When I reach the next level, I'm going to take a break."
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to take a break before you are forced to take a break. Who's talking?
You're living proof. You are living proof. Yes. The universe intervened. The universe is like, no, you need to stop and relax and not work and just breathe and just like recognize how far you've come, and then you can move on. You can do some more things. It's already laughing for me, but it's the truth. My mother. I hope that you don't mind me sharing. I feel like you kind of oversharing. You kind of overshare anyway. But
That's fine.
my mother got into an accident recently, and instead of her taking the time off to heal, she's decided that she's going to go to work either way. So she messages me and she's like, I don't feel right. Like I don't feel right. So she calls her doctor. And the doctor is basically like, oh no, you need to stay home. You need to take some time off. But my mother is a hard worker and I love her for it. And it's very like it's inspiring. But at the end of the day, we can't push ourselves so hard that we like that's that's when the universe is like, hey, like you're going too hard. You've worked hard enough. Take that time and just breathe. Just breathe. So I'm really glad that you have taken that time. I'm really glad that you came on to share your insight and your experiences. Is definitely appreciated. Anything else that you would like to leave us with? And anybody in the chat, feel free to comment. You can share your own views. You can ask questions if you will. It is an open conversation. I don't know if you're still there. Mom, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I was waiting to see if anybody else had anything to say.
Oh.
I just have one more thing. Like, we have to be careful with that superhero complex that we all have on the inside of us.
Yes.
Because life is about different seasons. And sometimes we have, like, a whole bunch of superpower, and sometimes we need to rely on somebody else's superpower.
Yes.
So we just have to, be aware and try to be proactive so that we don't get to that stage of burnout when we're trying to save the world. Not discouraging anybody from trying to save the world, because if everybody tries to save the world, it'll be a better place.
Yeah, I agree. But we can't all try to save the world. We have to save ourselves. We have to pour into our own cups and sometimes allow ourselves to be saved. I hope that makes sense. Does it make sense to allow ourselves to be saved?
Of course, that's why I said sometimes you have to let somebody else be the hero, let somebody else be the superhero.
Yes.
Not always your turn.
Yes. 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 Thank you again for coming on. We're going to finish up soon. We have like 7 more minutes. The time flies so fast. So fast. Are you trying to figure out how to leave now, Mom? Are you trying to figure out how to leave the chat? Are you? Can you figure it out? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay. All right.
I'll just try some stuff and then something will work out. I got in, so I should be able to get out.
I believe there should be an X on the top right corner.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm like, I'm just going to press that.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on.
Welcome. Bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you too. All right. So that was my mom, pastor, teacher, mother, wife, by every day. I really appreciate her, and she's studying psychology. She is a woman who does not sleep unless she needs to, but I appreciate her and love her. So we're gonna finish off with some myths, and then I'm gonna leave you guys with something inspiring and valuable in terms of some quotes. And you may hear my dog crying in the back, so I do apologize about that. Hey, Crystal, welcome on the inside of Don't Forget Your Crown. We're talking about burnout. You can grab your tea, your wine, your water, whatever you're interested in grabbing. And we are finishing up in about 6 minutes. But you are welcome to stay. You are welcome to talk about it. Share your own perspective. Feel free to do so. It's an open discussion. Um, so another thing that I'm going to add to this discussion would be the myths that people believe when it comes to burnout. So one myth would be, oh gosh, I almost forgot that I was on live. One myth, I mean, not this live, I mean YouTube live. Anyway, hi. One myth would be people who feel burned out are weak and just can't handle stress. That is not true. You cannot push your body so far. Okay, guys? Like you're going to need breaks. We're human beings. There's a lot that we can do, especially when we put our mind to it. But you also have to allow yourself to take a break when it's necessary. Number two of a myth is burnout is a personal issue, not an organizational issue. And this means with work. Yes, we have to work to live, but I was recently watching Emily in Paris, and one of the Parisian people from the marketing agency said he doesn't work to live. He no, or was it he doesn't live to work? He doesn't live to work. He works to live because he is going to enjoy his life despite having to work in order to make a living, right? So if it is that you're going through something and you feel like you need to take a break from work, then you go to your practitioner, your doctor, whoever, you be honest with them and you tell them, hey, I'm very exhausted. I need a break. And be honest, guys. Don't use it as an excuse just to get out of work. Be honest about how you feel in your body and your head. Be realistic, as my mom mentioned about it. Myth number three is that millennials use burnout as an excuse. Now we know that this is a time of mental health. Mental health is being pushed at us constantly and consistently. But mental health is a thing. We are all going through it in our own way. And I don't want anybody to see it as an excuse. How you feel internally and physically and mentally is important. And only you know how you feel. And only you can do something about it. Okay? So you don't worry about people saying it's an excuse. It is your life. And if you need to take a break, you need to take a break before the universe says, I'm going to make you take a break, like my mother. And for those of you who are now in the chat and don't know the story, my mom got into an accident recently and she's a busy bee. She's a teacher, she's a pastor, she's studying, she's a mom, she's a wife. But I mean I'm a grown adult. So she's a wife. But the universe intervened and said, hey, you really need to take a break. You need to slow down. So now she's on sick leave until next week. Myth number 4, more sleep and time off will solve burnout. Excessive sleeping is not good. You may feel as though it is, but burnout, taking a break from work or your relationship or whatever, isn't saying, oh, just don't sleep your life away. You taking a break means you're pouring into your cup. Whether it is that you spend more time outside, you do meditation or exercising, you work out your routine so that you feel better when you decide to bring that thing back into your life. Burnout is a response to an extended exposure of emotional, physical, and interpersonal stressors. So things that consistently happen to you at work and in your relationships and any other thing that might give you stress can push you to feel burnt out. And while like recovery time or breaks help deal with the symptoms of burnout, they don't provide a lasting solution, right? Number 5 myth: once you get over it, burnout won't come back. That is not true. Okay? That is not true. It can happen to you multiple times of your life, which is why it's important for us to deal with our health and to be honest with ourselves about what we're feeling and what we're going through, and to honestly not people please. Yes, as much as we might want to go to this thing because our friend really wants to go with us, we may need to take a step back. We may need to say no. If it's at the detriment of your health and how you feel about you, you may have to say no, and that is okay. Okay. What's absolutely not true? Tell me, Chrissy. Tell me. Oh, you mean getting over it? Because it won't come back. Because it definitely will. It definitely will. It definitely will. Especially like at work when you're dealing with work situations. I find that like nowadays, I get so exhausted with work. And I do my best to fill my cup, get back into the right place so that I don't feel that way. And the truth is that yeah, I feel like I have burnout every 3 months. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like I have burnout every 3 months. I feel like I constantly need to take a break. But every year is not bad, to be honest. Every year is not that bad. Um, let me see. I have something else to share with you guys. Right. So another myth would be, I'm looking at my notes, guys, so give me a moment. Uh right. I had already mentioned to you guys that burnout doesn't necessarily mean that you need a major work or life change. Sometimes you just need to take a step back, and then once you have dealt with you, filled your cup, basically, you can return. Well, you have to obviously work out a routine that works for you so that you don't, so it doesn't happen as often. Sorry if I'm all over the place. I'm looking at my notes. You don't have to keep your burnout a secret, uh, because if you are burned out, you can tell. Like, I'm sure that you can tell when somebody's overworked and overwork. I have a colleague at work who says every day, like, I can't wait to leave this place. He can, and he would literally get in, probably like give him like 2 minutes, and he's already talking about he can't wait to leave. He won winning lottery real bad. All these other things, like these are the things that you notice, and it might not be in that way. It might be another way, like you may be a little bit sluggish when it comes to doing things, or you may be triggered easily when somebody says something to you, or you might sign or clock into work 10 to 15 minutes later than you did when you started, and when I say when you started, when you first got the job, when you would be like eager to go there and work or what. I don't know if anybody else has been through that, but I know that for me, I usually like to get to work like 10 minutes before my time, just so that I have an idea of what's going on around me. But now I'm kind of going through burnout, and I get to work just on time or like 5 minutes later. And it's something that I'm working on. Number four, a vacation or a day off will cure your burnout. That is a complete myth. Most frequently, that's what people say, but it's not it doesn't cure it. It doesn't fix it. You are going to have to work out a routine that helps you not just for burnout, but it helps you for other things. Your confidence, your overthinking, your love of self, your relationships. You're going to have to work a routine that pours into your cup. And that's something that I say often and frequently. Um, I'm over my time limit, but we are going to finish up shortly. So thank you so much for being here. Um, Last myth, if you are burned out, it means you're also depressed. Burnout and depression do appear to be related in some way, but they aren't. It has its own set of symptoms, and depression has its own set of symptoms. I am not a registered psychologist, but I would always suggest, yes, WebMD is great, doing your research online is great, but I always suggest for people to consider actually going to therapy once in your life, even if it's just for 6 months to a year. Go to therapy, because then you'll have some insight. And there are people who don't charge you an arm and a leg I'm going to share that information with you guys later on. But there are people who don't charge you an arm and a leg. There are people who care about your well-being. There are people who have that information out there who do have that degree. I am just coming to you with my own experiences. And my mom, she is studying psychology and she's given her own opinions or what she's learned. So there are a lot of takeaways from this. So we can confirm that burnout is real. It is something that each and every person goes through in their life, whether or not they're able to recognize it. And the main thing is knowing that it doesn't just stop and that's it. Burnout, it happens once in a while. As long as you are not pouring into yourself and getting yourself right, you will face that heaviness of, oh, I don't want to be here, or oh, I don't want to deal with this. And like I said, burnout and depression, two different things. Okay. All right. So guys, let me leave you with something encouraging. Oh gosh, I'm moving around my notes. Hi Sherry. Thank you so much for everybody for being here. All right, so Amanda Gorman says, there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. We all have to recognize, and this is me talking now, we all have to recognize that we are light. There is good in us, there is bad in us. You have to acknowledge the good and the bad, but know that there's amazing potential inside of you. Despite what you're going through, despite the challenges you face, once you sit down, you're honest with yourself, and you have people in your circle who are honest with you, because you don't want anybody to be telling you, yeah, girl, you right, or yeah, big man, you good. No, you want people to be real with you when you're doing stupidness and when you are not taking your life and yourself seriously, because you matter. What you bring matters. You are your own individual. There's nobody else like you. There's nobody else with your fingerprint. There's nobody else that talks the way that you do. There's nobody else that has all of these little, the word isn't coming to me, in order to create the being that you are. Okay. So just remember that, go into this new week reminding yourself that you are light, and that you have to be brave enough to see that you are light, and you have to be brave enough to be the light that you are. Okay. So that was the first effort. She's trying to get your attention. Hey, Star. Hey, baby. That was the first episode of Don't Forget Your Crown. Thank you so much to everybody for being here. This is something that with every intent, I plan to continue doing, because it helps me. And I know that there are some people who have told me that it helps them. And if there's anything that you want to discuss, feel free to DM me. If you have my WhatsApp, feel free to WhatsApp me. I am open to discussion. Like I said, this is about bringing different people's perspectives, different people's experiences into the mix. We can all learn from each other. We can all learn from each other in this beautiful world that has difficult ish going on. So so thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys next week Sunday for another episode of Don't Forget Your Crown. All right, have a good evening, and it's your girl Zoe Sunshine. Bye. All right, to my YouTube people, because don't forget that I don't think that I forgot that you guys were here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna share this stream as well for other people to check out later. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.